Alrighty, now let's go. So, first of all, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. This is the second stream that I have not done any music, and that is especially true today because we have finally been monetized. We have worked extremely hard to get to this point, and so as everybody starts trickling in here, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell if you haven't already, and make sure, please, as you are doing this, that you do that bare minimum to help support this channel. And as you contribute through that, we continue to grow and eventually maybe make this a full-time thing. But for now, I go through. Yo, Miss Mandy, thank you for becoming a member. I really appreciate it. I am working on the alerts, so bear with me as the alerts are kind of like clunky. Something I need to do as well is kind of pull up my channel real quick so that I could see the super chats, because super chats are here. So welcome to the bronze membership. Let me go ahead and pull YouTube up so now I can see super chats more easy. Before I had it up on my phone. Anyways, it's just a nightmare. But anyways, welcome in, guys. Yeah, so as you're coming in, make sure you hit the like button. We are going to talk about the MAGA double standard, if you will. That is what we are going to talk about. Let me pull this out real quick. There we go. We're going to talk about the MAGA double standard. We saw Pete Hegseth, Petey Boy, get caught in a scandal releasing classified information. We'll see how much we investigate this, because we know how well Democrats tend to do that. Not very well, spoiler alert. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. As we get more people in here, please, again, I'm doing this at the very beginning. Please hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. Push us out in the algorithm, and it's the very least you guys can do. And yes, we are finally monetized. All right, let's just jump straight into it. We got a lot to cover and not a lot of time that I got to stream. So let's jump straight into it now. What up, Ian? What's going on, buddy? So let's go ahead and jump straight into here. So first and foremost, boy, oh boy. No, Miss Mandy, you're good. Hey, I appreciate you coming in, and I appreciate you joining our membership. So I really appreciate that. So as you can see here, President Trump promoted his cryptocurrency this morning. His promotional post led to an immediate spike in the price. For anybody who's unaware of how, and listen, I'm not claiming that this is what is going on with this particular investment, if you will, but this is something that, generally speaking, things happen, is that they love to do a pump and dump, is what it's called. Now, I am not alleging that this is a pump and dump, but you can kind of read between the lines. So we've seen this, and then all of a sudden, as it went up, started to go back down. Pretty self-fitting right there, right? What's going on, Todd? Welcome in. This is going to be a little bit more lengthy. So this is kind of in relation to our foreign neighbors. So this is going to be a segment. So I'm going to interact with chat, but it might be very limited until towards the end of this segment that I'm about to do. Donald Trump has alienated us from our key allies. We see the Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, saying that President Trump claims that Canada isn't a real country. He wants to break us so America can own us. We will not let that happen. Oh. My dog is reckless, bro. Surprise, surprise. Now y'all got behind the curtain of Oz. Yes, if you haven't figured out yet, I'm in our bedroom because we don't have an office. But anyways, back to the news of the news of the news. So let's try this again. Luckily I did it at the very beginning. My dog decided to do that right at the beginning. All right. So Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney stated, President Trump claims that Canada isn't a real country. He wants to break us so America can own us. We will not let that happen. We're over the shock of the betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons. This is the thing about this, okay? is that Donald Trump has unified Canada, so much so to the point that Pierre Bolivier has had to work with the Trump administration to try to distance himself from their election, because the tariffs are absolutely boosting the Liberals in Canada. And so what we're seeing is a unifying front coming from Canada. They are all off of Donald Trump. They do not like that. And keep in mind, Donald Trump has already said he wants to take over Canada. And speaking of which, Second Lady Usha Vance is set to visit Greenland on Thursday. Second Lady Usha Vance will travel to Greenland with her son and a United States delegation. Don't let that be mistaken. A lot of people are going to sit there and say that her going to Greenland is just for her to enjoy the scenery. That's what it is. It's to enjoy the scenery. That's all it is. But in reality, she is going to Greenland with a U.S. delegation to visit historical sites, learn about Greenlandic heritage, and attend the Avanada Kimusera, Greenland's national dog sled race. The races bring together approximately 37 mushers and 444 dogs, and a remarkable display of speed, skill, and teamwork. Mrs. Vance and the delegation are excited to witness this monumental race and celebrate Greenlandic culture and unity, and they'll return to the United States on Saturday. This is another effort by the Trump administration to normalize that the Trump administration is trying to warm up the Greenlandic people. This is an effort for them clearly to, again, take over Greenland, even though we, America first, very American first, will we agree? I don't think we would agree. This doesn't seem very America first to me. If we look here at the next thing, we can even see J.D. Vance re-emphasizing what I just stated. J.D. Vance on an interview Sunday stated, Denmark is not doing its job and isn't being a good ally. If that means we need to take more territorial interest in Greenland, that is what President Trump is going to do, because he doesn't care about what the Europeans scream at us. So this is the kind of trending theme, right? The kind of trending theme with the Trump administration is, it's just a joke, bro. It's just a joke until it's not a joke. And what we're seeing here is them wanting to expand. There's a bit of imperialism that is starting to seep through the Trump administration. Dare I say authoritarianism even seep through this administration. And we see people like Tuberville. You remember Patrick Mahomes, football coach? You remember that flub? Yeah, that guy. It's as much about for the people of Greenland as anything. If you listen to them talk, when they interview them, they're all in on it. Now, we're going to have problems with the other group across the water. You not only have the president, you not only have the vice president, you don't just have the MAGA media pundits, you have Congress trying to make Greenland the 51st state. I don't know what they're trying to achieve here. I can't tell if what they're trying to do is divide and conquer. I think what they may be trying to do is trying to get at least one territorial state just to leave that legacy. I think that is what they're trying to do here. I think that if they say, hey, we're going after Greenland, Canada, Panama Canal, they're going to see which one has the path of least resistance, and they're going to go after that one first. And so when we look at this, I think that they're seeing that Canada's off the table because of how Canada's united, and now they're focusing on Greenland. They see something there that they can do with Greenland. Anybody who says that, remember how the narrative has shifted, by the way. The narrative went from mineral rights to military bases, and to now we're just trying to do what the Greenlandic people want. So yeah, it's pretty rich how that kind of works out. So again, Donald Trump is expanding. He's trying to take over numerous countries, including Canada, even though all at the same time, he is touting American sovereignty. But yet he has no problem invading other countries' sovereignty. Talked about Gaza as well. So there you go. I had to do my segment. Welcome in, guys. Balding, cringe, liberal, millennial. How does one get to this point? Well, for one, it's called aging, but two, I've had this forehead for a long time. Thank you for acknowledging. I did see someone in there say a celebrity. I've had that a few times. Not Ryan Gosling. Might have been Ryan Gosling. There's somebody people compare me to. The other one was Breaking Bad. I've been called that one. Jesse Pinkman, I think is his name. You call MAGA standards. Call MAGA double standards, but the only standards you have are a quadruple standards. Curtis, I hold a very principled stance. If you want to point out anything where I have mentioned I have a double standard, you're more than welcome to, let me know. Aaron Paul, yeah, I think that's what it was, Wes. Aaron Paul. So I've been told that. I can see it when I look in the mirror. Out of all the famous people, I don't know. I'll take Aaron Paul. I don't mind it, What's up, normal person? Brad Pitt all day. Yo, dazed. I'm honored that you think I look like Brad Pitt. I'm quite honored. Fun fact, I did look at doing some acting classes and stuff, but I digress. Listen, guys, as you're coming in here, please, again, at the end of the segment, I wanted to make sure you all know, please hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. Just to support the stream, okay? We got there more. We still got some juicy news to get to. I just want to kind of go and piece through it and talk with you guys a little bit. Thoughts on Israel controlling our country? We're not going to talk about that, Scotty. Nice try, though. Have a great week, man. Best to you. Keep at it, man. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate you coming in, buddy. Goodbye, democracy. Yeah, Ivan. Democracy is quickly fading. Biden was sharp as attack, remember? Pat, welcome in. I believe you're back. I believe you're a recurring viewer. Yeah, I think Joe Biden was, all in all, not maybe as sharp as he could be, right? I mean, he's aging, he's older, right? But so is Donald Trump. Donald Trump has certainly had his moments, and I think we need a younger president, whether that be Republican or Democrat, preferably a Democrat. But we definitely need a younger president. Younger than Donald Trump. And I think Donald Trump is the wrong vision for this administration. We'll get to that as well because there's been some confirmed leaks coming from this administration where a reporter was accidentally included into war plans. It's pretty crazy. And with that, it was discovered that J.D. Vance was like, hey, I don't totally agree with the boss here. So, and they kind of keep that behind closed doors, right? They don't want the boss to know that they're kind of upset with the boss because they know how Donald Trump likes to fire people that don't agree with him. Kind of like an authoritarian almost would do. Let's see. Trump hair share pieces for sale. Probably. By the way, I'm a Trump supporter, but I also listen and learn. I'm not 100% educated on politics, which is why I'm willing to always listen and learn with an open mind. Yo, Days Romero, I appreciate you coming in here. I will help you as best as I can and educate you a little bit on some of the current going-ons in politics. Again, a lot of this is just kind of current news. We'll react to a video at the end. Eventually, I think Wednesday or Friday, we're going to go in and actually do like a TikTok debate. So I think that's what we're going to do. Give me 1 second. All right. Sorry about that. Dog had to go outside. When you're that old as Trump, you have nothing to live for. Hot mic. Yeah, no, I know. I was telling, you're good, Miss Mandy. I was just telling the wife to put the dog up because she was kind of running around, scratching at the door and stuff. So maybe someday in administration we'll talk about the $49.8 trillion and unfunded obligations for. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about that as well. One of the things we're going to talk about is Obama's spending cuts. A lot of people don't talk about the Obama spending cuts, and I think the one thing that people. Yes, Ben, my boyfriend. There you go. You can say that. That's fine. I'm not against that. LGBTQ pride, right? Anyways, so Obama did implement some Doge-like spending cuts, but it's quite interesting because it also kind of defeats the purpose of the MAGA talking point, which is that Democrats are afraid of spending cuts. We'll get into that. In fact, it might be the next one. No, this is the next one. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is immigration. This one's been something we've talked about numerous times, but we're going to go over this a little bit. Pat Jager said, Trump does more press conferences in 60 days than Biden did in 4 years. I wouldn't say 4 years. He did more in 60 days than probably, I don't know if he did. Yeah, it depends on how they define press conference, but I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. Sometimes it's better when Trump doesn't speak because then he goes off the cuff, right? Those press conferences are what tend to get him in the most trouble. Trump doesn't know what he's doing, 100% Lionel. Back him up, send him home. Yeah, okay. So right here, Attorney General Pam Bondi says the Supreme Court could get involved in the Alien Enemies Act case, which is pretty transparent here. She also had a few other comments right here. AG Bondi once again attacked members of the judiciary, criticizing federal judges who struck down or paused a portion of President Trump's agenda. Let's be very clear, this is not the only time that they've done this. There are numerous other people, like Elon Musk here, for example, saying he has a villainous look to him. You can see here the article is basically stating activist judge, like how they did that, right, quote unquote, activist judge. He's not an activist judge. Boasberg claimed J6 defendants deserved harsher charges, called for new laws to punish them. There's one issue with this. The posts flying around about this calling for new laws, if you go back here, you can see calling for new laws. That's not exactly what he was referring to. Kyle Cheney went in and explained this a little bit better. This post flying around is a total misread of Boasberg's comments. He didn't suggest Congress pass new laws to punish J6ers. He was saying the courts were dealing with relatively untested issues, laws that didn't neatly fit the conduct because Jan 6 was a sui generis crime, and many challenges were at that time working their way up the chain to SCOTUS. The law to be made, quote unquote, was via presidential rulings at the appeals court and Supreme Court level. It is extremely clear. That was great. It's extremely clear. This is what he meant if you read his entire comment, which was conveniently not linked here. And you can see it's now been amplified with President Trump and Elon Musk. And obviously, as we saw that with the villainous look, right? And then we also see here that continuing some of this immigration talk, Kyle Cheney also saying that this is about a flight. So after Judge Boasberg ruled that there should be no more flights being sent, they're continuing to send flights. You can see here, this underscores that the administration, which is barred by the court from deporting anyone under the Alien Enemies Act for another week, has other pathways to deport them. So as soon as you go through and you find, once they say, hey, you're not able to do this, then they just find a workaround, which is the exact same thing that MAGA has complained about Joe Biden, conveniently. And here's the Judge Boasberg rejecting the Trump administration's call to rescind his TRO. And the funny thing about this is MAGA, the party of constitutional protections and the party that loves their constitutional rights, they love their constitutional rights, have now all of a sudden called for the end of due process. We can see here Carl saying, do they have any due process at all? Tom Homan replying, due process? What was Laken Riley's due process? Again, I'm going to go back to what I've talked to you guys about many, many times before. I wonder how many other people Tom Homan or other children Tom Homan can name. If you cannot name more than 5 children that were harmed by undocumented immigrants, then you're using these children for political pawns, and you should be ashamed. You should be deeply ashamed by doing that. Sorry, I'm going to call it like I see it. And second of all, Tom Homan took an oath to protect the Constitution. The same Constitution that guarantees due process rights to all individuals who touch foot on this soil. So where are you protecting the Constitution? This is diminishing the Constitution. And that's not all. We see mainstream media pundits like Brian Kilmeade calling for the end of due process, saying it's not practical to think we can do due process on 8 million people. If we're going to give every one of these guys a day in court and a lawyer, we can't do it. They don't deserve it. Let that soak in. You MAGA, who voted for Donald Trump, support this. This is why I say, now I understand, I've had a few people in my comments say, look, I know when you address this, that I'm not just another MAGA. I understand there's degrees here. There are people who are Republican, there are people who are MAGA, and then there are people who are MAGA light, right? I like to say that when you ask them who they would vote for, they tend to say, I would have voted for Vivek or Ron DeSantis. You're MAGA light if that was the case. If you would have said like Ron Paul or Rand Paul, I'm sorry, or if you were to say like, I don't know, Mitt Romney or something, whatever, then you might be more Republican. By the way, you're not a rhino for saying that, by the way. It's just that the MAGA party has taken over the Republican Party and moved the Republican Party so far right that it's unrecognizable to this day. And so anyways, the next thing is you see Pam Bondi also mentioning defending migrant rendition flights to a slave prison in El Salvador. It's basic public safety. Get these people out of our country as fast as we can. They're not immigrants. They're illegal aliens who are committing the most violent crimes you can imagine on Americans, even though we have pretty good standards right now, or pretty good belief right now that there is an undocumented immigrant that is currently being held in an El Salvador prison who is a gay barber, to cut it short. And what seems to have happened was that he was arrested for nothing other than the tattoo of a snake on his arm. And there are people that are defending this. And they're saying that this is a case of if that's the only one you can point out, then clearly this is the right answer, except that's not how this works. Due process is fundamental. It does not matter what crime you are accused of. And let's be very clear, the Trump administration has deported citizens, and I'll have to look for it. They have deported, not citizens, sorry. They've deported undocumented immigrants who were merely accused of said crime. I've seen a few where they pull up the orange thing and it says out on bond, right? Again, every single person who steps foot on this piece of soil is granted due process. If one person, I'll ask this question to most of the people in the audience, if one person is not granted their constitutional rights, is that a problem? And every person should say yes. Every person who is an actual patriot should say yes. One person is one person too many when due process is violated. Or how would you feel? And I know how MAGA would feel if their Second Amendment rights were taken away. Oh boy, if one person lost their Second Amendment rights, they're losing it. They're losing it. They pick and choose. This is why I sit there and say that the Democrats are far more patriotic in support of the Constitution at this very point in time than the MAGA party is currently. We see this same thing play out here, by the way, a little off key here. Colin Kalinske posted this meme, and it's 100% true. MAGA saying the tyrant Biden has been stopped. God bless the Fifth Circuit. By the way, the Fifth Circuit, I believe out of Amarillo, Texas. And one of the judges they would continuously go to, and they loved going to court shopping and finding that. But all of a sudden now that Judge Boasberg has stepped up, MAGA saying these judges should not be stepping on the toes of the executive branch. Immigrants have due process rights too. Issues injunction. So again, this is just kind of another bit of that MAGA double standard. And if you think that just because you're in this country as an undocumented immigrant, or if you're you have your green card, we've already seen how that worked out for Mahmoud Khalil. Well, we can see that playing out here. ICE detained a U.S. citizen in Northern Virginia with guns drawn. He offered to show ID and told the officers he was an American citizen, but they handcuffed him anyway. The man is a Trump voter, but says he is reconsidering his support after he was targeted for being Hispanic. And we are seeing this time and time and time and time again. They are literally stop and frisk, okay? This is stop and frisk at its prime. They are seeing somebody who has a dark skin complexion and stopping them on the streets to question their citizenship. We can also see here that the Trump administration may soon scan the social media accounts of green card and citizenship applications for hostile attitudes towards the U.S. They are looking for not just the person who's here on violation of 8 U.S.C. 1325 illegal entry. They are here for anybody. Green card as well. And keep in mind, one of the things they have done, and I don't have the article up, is that they wanted to try to actually scan the Social Security database for anybody that was paying taxes via an I-10. any undocumented immigrant that's paying taxes via an I-10, they want to try to locate them. Why would they might want to do that? I think it's pretty clear at this point what they're trying to do. They're trying to do their best to arrest all undocumented immigrants, regardless of their temporary legal status. You can see here, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says he sold 1,000 immigration cards priced at $5 million each in one day this week. The development means $5 billion was made to help pay off the national debt. There are 37 million people in the world who are capable of buying the card. The president thinks we can sell 1 million. He thinks that they can sell 1 million of these gold cards. First of all, I need proof. I don't want to just sit here and see that, you sold 1,000 of these gold cards. Show me proof. Show me that you actually did that, because I don't see it. And of course, they're saying that Lutnick says Trump got the idea to sell a gold card during a meeting he had. It's actually a spinoff of the EB-5 visa immigrant program. And so what we're seeing here is the Trump administration eroding our Constitution piece by piece by piece. And they tried going after, and this is probably what's happening, is they tried going after the violent undocumented immigrants, and they kind of ran out. So now they're trying to meet their quota by going after legal immigrants, green card holders, temporary protective status, you name it, they're going after it. It's only a matter of time, in my opinion, before they start going after DACA. Woo, what a segment. All right, that was a good segment. That was a long one. Buzzword. Yeah, no, buzzword. That's all a MAGA has. What's going on, Holden? Jersey Mike, that's not something I really want in our chat. We can disagree with Donald Trump without saying that stuff, but I get it. He's old. Donald Trump is old. Trump is a lying felon. He's going to bankrupt America. Yeah, Lionel, he is going to bankrupt America, and I believe he's calling some of the tariffs here coming up in a couple of weeks, I believe. I think it's April 2nd, I think he said, that he's going to do tariffs, and he calls it Liberation Day. I don't see any tears, Easy Boy. But I know MAGA's been crying quite a bit, and we've got that on full display over here. Here I am like, that's fine. Right, Wes, I know. It's kind of like, that meme where they've got the character sitting in a burning room, and they're like, it's okay. Right? I mean, just another day in Trump's America, right? Where we're just like, what's the next constitutional right that we're going to lose? Right? Grifter Dim gave billions to Ukraine. Who gave billions to Ukraine? I think we probably should have. At this point now, we should have given them more, honestly, in my opinion, to give them a little bit cushion for when Trump got into office. Should have given them more. When does the winning start? Yeah, Professor Oak, I don't know. They claim that it's going to take, it's not, it's funny how they play this. MAGA will sit there and say, look at this, look at Trump's done more in 60 days. This is the funny thing. I've seen this in chat just today. They're like, oh, Trump's done more in 60 days than Joe Biden did in 4 years. And then you go, okay, well, he said he was going to turn the economy around. Oh, whoa. He's only been in office 60 days, guys. He's only been in office for 60 days. Slow down there, Chief. Look at, he's only been in office 60 days. It's hysterical to me. They can't make up their mind on which way it is. Either he's done the most or he's done the least. How does that work? Trump was a better choice than Kamala. How so, doing work? When is Trump's lying to stop? It doesn't stop. As he gets older, it's just going to get worse. Both can be true, not intelligent. How can they both be true? So has he done enough or has he done not enough? Right? If you're claiming he's done enough, then my criticism holds true. So, again, it's interesting how you say that. Dude, you're just as bad as CNN. I appreciate your concern. I'll keep it right here in my thoughts and prayers, right? Yeah, listen, guys, we got over 199 people and 24 likes. If you're watching the stream and you're enjoying this content, please hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. Yes, ma'am, Miss Mandy, we are doing great. I know a lot of them are not too happy with the content. That's okay. They're giving me views. So I appreciate you guys for coming in here and chatting away. What do you want to debate about, John? What have the Dems done? What, launder money and print money they shouldn't have? You want to talk about printing money? We can talk about how much money Donald Trump spent. You can look at the Committee for a Responsible Fiscal Budget and look at how much he added to the deficit. He added, I think it was like $8 trillion over the next 10 years, where Joe Biden ended up spending like $4 trillion over the next 10 years. So, yeah, tell me about printing money. Republicans do that time and time again. These tariffs are going to shutter so many businesses, someone who works in supply chain. DBL, you are 100% correct. I mean, I can think of things like manufacturing. I can think of places like even, quite frankly, retail, right? As it's kind of a trickle down, right? But in the negative way. You had 250, but they heard the crap and they left. Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. I have to run my son's. Okay, no problem, Miss Mandy. I appreciate you supporting the stream and being a member. Check this out. They said airplane wings. Oh, Johnny. Y'all tripping. Johnny, you're tripping. I'm gaslighting. How am I gaslighting? You should tell me. You people think men could... Okay. Y'all are crazy in chat right now. You're crazy in chat. Okay, Miss Mandy, no problem. Appreciate you. All right, let's go on to the next topic. Oops, here we go. All right, so on to the next thing. We're going to talk about Elon Musk. He is slowly, rapidly actually, spiraling out of control. It's pretty crazy. So number of Tesla owners trading in their cars has just surged to an all-time record high as the company's stock continues to plunge. This is what a movement looks like. However, the Trump administration is not too happy with the way in which people are protesting Musk's Tesla company. You can see here, Attorney General to Jasmine Crockett, tread very carefully with your Musk critique. Once again, another imposition on Jasmine Crockett's First Amendment protections, by the way. And you can see here Ron Filipkowski saying the self-styled free speech people constantly threatening to imprison people for merely speaking. Just another glaring example of that. And one thing I want to talk about is I want to kind of show you guys this guy here, good old Obama. Now, this is going to trigger a lot of people because I know that MAGA does not like Obama. And when Obama was doing this, they claimed that... I actually watched a few clips. I was curious. I started diving into it today. And I noticed that at the time, Republicans were saying that it wasn't enough. They were claiming that he was barely cutting waste and he was increase. What was it? They were saying that he was not cutting enough and that he was increasing spending on the defense budget. That was the Republican argument back in the day. And looking in hindsight, it was very, very milquetoast. But let's look at how they did this. Let's look at how the Obama administration actually sought to try to cut down on waste and how it differs from what we're going through with Elon Musk, by the way. So you can see here that they made a new oversight and accountability board. Building on the successful execution of the Recovery Act, the Vice President announced the establishment, Vice President Biden, by the way, of a new oversight and accountability board to help federal agencies improve their performance and reduce waste, fraud, and abuse across the government. The Recovery Act's use of unprecedented transparency to drive accountability and prevent fraud is a success story that needs to be replicated across federal government spending. The mission of the new board is to allow taxpayers the same ability, they messed that one up, to track where their dollars are going and to have the same confidence that the dollars are not being lost to waste, fraud, or abuse, not just for Recovery Act dollars, but more broadly. This is where it differs. Now, you're probably looking at me going, Vince, this is like the same thing as Doge, but we're about to see where it's majorly different. The board will be composed of 11 members, including agency inspector generals. Why would they need inspector generals? To actually identify true fraud. Agency chief financial officers. Oh, chief financial officers for a actual fiscal audit. Got it. Or deputy secretaries and an official from the Office of Management and Budget. All of which, I would argue, are highly qualified to conduct these audits. Now you see where the Obama administration's effort to go after waste, fraud, and abuse was significantly different than what we saw from this administration here. Elon right now has a few crypto bros going through with AI, identifying certain programs and cutting them. Not recommending it to any kind of a board. Let's be very clear here. There's not a board of 11 Musks Okay. And now we have here number 2. This is not the only thing. Regular cabinet meetings to report progress to, not to President Obama, to the vice president. The executive order also strengthens accountability, directing cabinet members to report progress, cutting waste, and delivering results directly to the VP. Just as he did with the Recovery Act, the vice president will be holding regular meetings with cabinet members to make sure they are doing all we can to eliminate government waste, save taxpayer dollars, and make government work better. The order also requires agency chief operating officers, generally deputy secretaries, and chief financial officers report progress regularly to the OMB. The reason why they're reporting this to the OMB is so that they can recommend it to Congress. So that is why. And keep in mind, too, when we had this usaspending.gov that all of MAGA finally discovered on the internet, that has been in existence since Obama, because that was part of Obama's efforts to try and cut down on waste, fraud, and abuse. So this actually negates MAGA's arguments that Democrats don't want to tackle waste, fraud, and abuse. They do want to tackle waste, fraud, and abuse. And I would even argue that the way that Obama did it, perfect. So perfect. That is how it ought to be done. The way that Musk is doing it is reckless. It's a bull in a china shop. So, the other thing that's really interesting to me, we'll get to that one in a minute, but this is the thing. The way that they're handling this is not the way that I would handle it. There is a way to actually cut this down, and they're just not doing that. This guy secretly likes Trump. Easy boy, for anybody who's unaware and who's new to the channel, welcome in, by the way. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. We're at 37 likes. Let's try to get up to like 50 likes. Let's see if we can do 50 likes. Okay, it's 13 of you guys. Just hit that like button. Pretty simple. One of the things that y'all may not know about me, I voted for Romney in 14. I voted Trump in 16, Cruz in 18, Trump in 20, and did not vote in the midterms in 22. And I voted for the first time ever in my entire life. And I know y'all may not believe me, and that's okay. I voted for Kamala Harris and Colin Allred. That's who I voted for this election. Because I have watched my party, my former party at this point, move further and further and further and further right. And one thing I'll tell you is that sunken cost fallacy is 110% correct. Many people on the right are afraid to leave their party because they're afraid of being socially exiled. They're worried about their egos being offended. They look at the Democrat Party as not the macho party. But what they don't realize is that there's many other people behind you that had that same exact concern. And I'm here to tell you, you're going to get asked questions. That's just how it goes. That's just how it goes. You're going to get asked questions, and it's not going to be very comfortable. But that's okay. You have to make that decision for yourself. And I believe this is one of the reasons that we're seeing AOC and Bernie hitting the campaign trail already. And it's only 2 months into the presidency. Because there's several people out there, and we're about to see this here in a few minutes, of Republicans going to the representatives and telling them, hey, I did not vote for this. So, Josh, you voted for communism. No, I voted for one of the most moderate Democrat presidential candidates in recent memory, next to Obama. No, I'm a Republican because I want to see change in this country. It has nothing to do with my outward appearance. So do Democrats, Bri Guy. Democrats want to see change too. They want to see a change back to normalcy, quite frankly. What Donald Trump has done is essentially the Democrats have in a way kind of been conservatives in a lot of ways, in the way of trying to reel it in and say, at least let's get back to a baseline. Trump has pushed us to the furthest extremes of our political spectrum. Under Trump, egg prices are down, gas prices are down. You're wrong on the egg prices. Those are wholesale prices. Consumers are not seeing egg prices go down. Gas prices are down, not much at all, no more than what Joe Biden brought it down. Canada loves us. That's hilarious. That is probably the biggest lie in that entire segment. And stock markets are up. They're definitely down overall over the past like 3 or 4 months. I don't know. I haven't checked over this past day. I don't know, man. Can we agree to disagree? Your argument in bad faith. The Dems are the ones who have caused everything to go to shit. My name, I can argue very, very poignantly that it is not Democratic policies that have reeled us into a inflationary spiral. It's a very two-dimensional thought process when you go into that. It is due in part, very simply, due to Donald Trump's economic policies. Do I think that Joe Biden had a hand in it? Yes, but not to any significant degree more than what Donald Trump had. Donald Trump had way more hand in this failure of an economy, and he fumbled it. And a lot of his policies, keep in mind too, a lot of people forget this. When Donald Trump signed, he signed one of the stimulus packages in December of 2020. People forget this. He signed it in December of 2020. That meant that a lot of his policies were still going to be going into place for that following year. And we saw, I believe, in peak of 2022 is when we saw the peak inflation at 9%. Joe Biden managed to reel it in down to 2%. And we've been over this, and I'm not going to bring it back up. The economy was better under Trump. Not that I recall. That I recall, he ended it off pretty badly. What's going on, Big Ten? Welcome in. This guy's objectively clueless. You can inform me why I'm clueless, Greek. Feel free to put it in chat. I'll try to catch it. Trump is destroying USA day by day. I would say there is a fundamental glue that is certainly starting to wear off in America, it feels like. The Greeks use reparations. Okay, he is faking. What am I faking, Matthew? Please, you want to make such a heavy-handed accusation, you can let me know what I'm faking. All right, so let's go on to the next one. MAGA complained about them, Kamala Harris, busting in all these supporters. Well, it turns out we finally have a litmus test to go by to see where the temperature is in the country, and that has to do with the, I believe it's the Wisconsin. I think it's Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin's Supreme Court race. Well, Brad Schimmel had to bust in Republicans. You can see here where it says in this article or this post from YR National. If we save Wisconsin, we save America. Great to have young Republicans from 17 states on the ground in Waukesha today, knocking doors for Brad Schimmel. Coming in from all over the state. They're trying to pump as much money into this race because they desperately want it to look as if Americans support what Donald Trump is doing. We also see this, though, playing out. Democrat Ro Khanna holds a town hall in a very, very red Bakersfield, California, and draws a huge crowd on Sunday. I mean, just look at this. It is a school auditorium. Let's be fair here. But it's a relatively large crowd, all things considered. And then we have here Ro Khanna saying, and this is the thing, too, when you see the Democrat Party losing favorability, let's be very clear why that's the case. The reason that this is the case is because of this right here. Ro Khanna said, I don't have a faith in Schumer saving democracy. And this is exactly why. And the funny thing is we can see Chuck Schumer went on to meet the press. And I kid you not, this was an actual statement made by Chuck Schumer. Our plan is to make Donald Trump the quickest lame duck in modern history by showing how bad his policies are. I believe by 2026, the Republicans in the House and Senate will feel like they are rats on a sinking ship because we have so gone after Trump. Keep in mind, Chuck Schumer had an opportunity to actually have a lame duck presidency by not voting on the continuing resolution. He voted for the continuing resolution. So this is very rich. And this is why a lot of Americans are disappointed in the Democrat Party. It's not because the Democrat Party is this is the problem with MAGA is they see certain things and they're like, oh, that the disappointment in Democrats means that they're coming over to the Republican Party. No. One thing that's happening in the Democrat Party is that they're disappointed in their leadership. They're disappointed with how things are going. We saw this, I believe it was with the Tea Party, right? The Tea Party showed a lot of resentment towards Donald Trump, or not Donald Trump. Tea Party showed a lot of resentment towards the traditional Republican Party. So didn't mean that the Tea Party went Democrat. It just meant that they were upset with how the direction the Republican Party was going. So we go to the next one here about these town halls. We saw Pam Bondi earlier talk about how she was telling Jasmine Crockett to chill down on the language. Well, here it is here. Donald Trump saying, I just watched our great Republican congressman from North Carolina, Chuck Edwards, hold a town hall in Asheville. He was a total gentleman, but the room was littered, quote unquote, with radical left lunatics, mostly Democrats, and all he did was scream, shout, and use filthy language which, by the way, I think is hysterical because all Donald Trump has done is, scream and use dirty language himself. They were largely paid agitators with fake signs and slogans who were only there to make trouble. Chuck put up with it and was wonderful. Remember, Biden and his FEMA did nothing for North Carolina. Keep in mind, we still have not heard much of anything. And by the way, they did do things for North Carolina. But let's keep in mind, too, that Donald Trump has done almost nothing for the floods that happened in Kentucky. But we'll pretend that never happened. And a terrible hurricane which did so much damage. As soon as I got into office, we worked miracles with zero help from the Dems. We have been praised for the job that we did, and the Democrats have been scorned. Also, remember, you have a Democrat governor who is supposed to be doing the work that Chuck and other Republicans are doing. Don't let infiltrated town halls fool you. It's the only thing the Dems know how to do. A great job, Chuck. Now, the problem is that these are in traditionally red areas. And so, again, the problem is if you have any Republicans that are in those town halls, Donald Trump is saying, you are an infiltrator. You are littered. Okay? Not a way to really win over much, especially right before, prior to the election. And what we see here, so what we're seeing is Republicans kind of rise up, and they're getting a little bit upset with seeing the direction their country's going. And Donald Trump is trying to claim that it's all... Donald Trump is only sitting there trying to stoke the flames a little bit. I see. It's odd. Come back, Todd, when you feel like you can handle yourself and, not cry. One of the things I feel like is a lot of people in here are going through there. And they're just, it's all right. Some of the trolls come in here and they feed the algorithm, so I'll take it. There's no alpha males on the right. America's number one felon. Richard, I like that one. He's being paid to do this. They see the conservatives have a big ecosystem of content creators on YouTube, so they're trying to do the same. I'm not paid by anybody, my name, and you can... levy accusations as such, but they are defamatory and they're incorrect. I am not paid by any single person. In fact, I've not received one dime from YouTube until now, actually, from Miss Mandy, and even then I won't be receiving it until the 21st. So again, this is all my free thoughts. All of you guys are contributing through just having this appearance, so I appreciate it. Boros is still coping. Well, John, if you don't like it, you're more than welcome to go on to another stream that you enjoy. But if you like to hate watch, I don't mind you doing that either. Dems are still yet to name one bad thing Trump is doing or has done in office. Bry Guy, I don't know if you're referring to mainstream Democrats, but they have been very boisterous in this. I could point to Al Green. Al Green got up there and shook his cane and saying that he was going to defund Social Security, which is the direction that it looks like it's going. So Democrats have been very, very boisterous. They were protesting out in front of some of the places that Doge was trying to get into. So yeah, Dems were doing a lot of things. Love watching the meltdown and mental gymnastics. Okay, hey, I don't mind. You want to hate watch? That's great. I appreciate it. You're supporting the stream by adding a viewer. I appreciate it. America's winning. Thank you, Donald Trump. Yeah, not really. Read the definition of treason and tell me Trump's not actively admitting treason. Can't be done. Problem is, Daryl, is you got to have people that would be willing to impeach Donald Trump, and that's just not the case that's going to happen right now. Kept your lefty tears coming. I think there's not really many tears coming from me, but if you see a little teardrop or something, just let me know. I'll make sure to wipe it. Love you, bro. All right, thank you, Anton. I used to be a Dem until I started to see how extreme the Dems have become. They aren't for the working class anymore. They're very much for the working class, far more for the working class than Donald Trump. All right. So Donald Trump and his ego could not handle the fact that this was the picture that was posted in Colorado's Rotunda, or Colorado's Capitol. Me personally, I think that's a pretty decent photo, if I'm being honest. I posted it on Twitter. You can see some of the pictures of Donald Trump with no makeup on. It's pretty horrendous. But Donald Trump was not too happy about it and said nobody likes a bad picture or painting of themselves, but the one in Colorado in the state capitol put up by the governor, along with all of the other presidents, was purposefully distorted to a level that even I perhaps have never seen before. The artist also did President Obama, and he looks wonderful. But the one on me is truly the worst. She must have lost her talent as she got older. In any event, I would much prefer not having a picture than having this one. But many people from Colorado have called and written to complain. People have complained about this picture. They've complained about this picture. In fact, they're actually angry about it. Oh, they're angry because their dear leader's picture is not true to represent. What does that sound like? That sounds a little like, well, I'll let you, interesting. I'm speaking on their behalf to the radical left Governor Jared Polis, who's extremely weak on crime, in particular respect to Trende, and they're going back to, making immigrants a target here. Jared should be ashamed of himself. Again, it's just a little simple picture. I think this picture looks quite flattering compared to the mugshot picture. And you can see here Fox News reacting to this. Maybe that artist was not being so kind. It's very, very obvious that he's bloated in that picture, and that's not the way he looks in real life. That's a dumb picture. How can you guys defend this and say that y'all aren't a cult? How can you defend this and say you're not in a cult? When you sit here and you see things like this, where they're idolizing a portrait of Donald Trump. It's a portrait. It's a portrait. It's not like they drew a booger nose on him. It's not like they sat there and drew a fake hat on him. I think it's about as good of a picture as you're going to get. This is weird. It's weird. And it continues the weird allegations, So I don't completely get it, but that's what we've got to deal with. Who cares about the picture? I don't. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I personally don't care too much about the picture, rather than it's just simply an odd thing and something to point out that I think is kind of interesting. Lots of TDS and tears, but no facts. You give facts, not tears. You give facts, not tears? Yeah, I do give facts, not tears. Thank you for acknowledging that, John. What happened to common decency? What was the common decency, Josh? How can you say you don't have TDS? You're arguing over a picture that was drawn of Donald Trump. You're an idiot. Hey, 99 runners, I appreciate you coming in here and providing commentary. It was very, very insightful. It may take me some time to reconsider why I may have posted that picture. But it's funny you guys have no actual real argument against the idea that Donald Trump is claiming that apparently many, according to Donald Trump, many people care about this picture. Apparently many people are sitting there calling in about it too and complaining. So, but anyways, on to the next one. We're getting close to the end of the news we're going to watch a react video. This is very recent. This happened just this afternoon. Pete Hegseth has managed to land himself into a little bit of controversy. He ended up adding a reporter to a Signal chat room with several other high-ranking cabinet members. You can see here, Pete Hegseth accidentally added a journalist to a Signal group chat that was being used as a command center for U.S. military strikes on the Houthis in Yemen. Here's also Pete Hegseth telling a reporter that he thinks should happen to politicians when they accidentally leak info. I can't play this audio because I'm sure it'll be copyrighted. Let's just say it's Pete Hegseth saying that they should be jailed. And this is regards to the Hillary Clinton emails. This pales in comparison to their Hillary Clinton emails. And you can see here when he was confronted by it, a reporter asked, "Can you share how your information about war plans was shared with the journalist?" And in typical MAGA fashion, so you're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who has made a profession of peddling hoaxes, never really disputing the legitimacy of that particular chat room. And then we have here earlier on in this administration when I think it was actually last week, Pete Hegseth, under the previous administration, we looked like fools. Not anymore. Wrong. You're wrong, Petey. You're looking pretty bad right now. And you can see here the Republicans are covering for this behavior. Let's be very clear. If this was anybody like Joe Biden or President Obama, they would have been calling for impeachment immediately. Immediately. Rest assured of that. Here's Josh Hawley saying, "This is what the leftist media reduced to. So now we are griping about who is on a text message and who is not. I mean, Come on, guys. It's just a text message. It's just a text message of, war plans. Come on now, guys. It's just a text message, guys. Yeah, like, it's not a big deal if, like, our enemies were to have gotten a hold of that message or anything. It's just a message. Just a text message. Or how about House Speaker Mike Johnson defending the Trump administration, saying that, where is it here? Basically that it was an accident and it's all good to go, basically is what it was. I could probably play this audio. We'll play this audio real quick.
Are you concerned
Oh, hold on. I can't. Oh.
About Trump term officials transmitting classified war plans on unsecured channels?
Listen, the administration, as I understand, I just was with the president in the Oval Office just now. The administration is addressing what happened. Apparently, an inadvertent phone number made it onto that.
Oh, thread. Inadvertent.
They're going to track that down and make sure that it doesn't happen again. What you did see, though, I think, was top-level officials doing their job, doing it well, and executing on a plan with precision. That mission was a success. No one was jeopardized because of it. We're grateful for that.
That's just patently incorrect. Had this gotten leaked out to the wrong people, it absolutely would have jeopardized the security of those individuals.
But they will certainly, I'm sure, make sure that doesn't happen.
But they were talking on signal, not in the
I'm not going to characterize.
This man, Mike Johnson's like, how do I say this? Like, how do I navigate this? How do I navigate this? I've got to appear good in front of. Like, I can't undermine Donald Trump.
What happened? Clearly, I think the administration has acknowledged it was a mistake, and they'll tighten up and make sure it doesn't happen again.
They'll tighten up, guys. We'll make sure we do better. We'll make sure we do better, and we're not, gonna do anything. We'll just make sure it doesn't happen again. And they all seem to be falling into line with the same rhetoric, by the way, that they're trying to brush it off as a nothing burger. This is hysterical, by the way. This is like low level cover up, if I'd ever seen one. Low effort. Donald Trump even saying that, of course, like in typical Trump fashion, he didn't know anything about this, and that it was the media's fault for this, and that he doesn't know anything about it. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. The most transparent president. So what we've seen is Pete Hegseth leaking, if you will, unintentionally leaking certain war plans to the press. I've seen some people claim this is a 4D chess move. I just think it's one of those kind of things that's so crazy to me that you just don't expect it to happen. And it almost feels like it's almost like you just sit there and you're like, this has to be a reason, right? There has to be a reason. I think the most likely, I think the most likely thing that happened here was that Pete Hegseth, having been in the media, very likely had a whole litany of journalists in his phone as a contact, and he may have inadvertently added somebody else instead. That's the most likely explanation that I can think of. And either way, I want to call it now, this is deserving of an investigation. Terrorists making America unemployed again. Absolutely great divide. Welcome in everybody who's come back in. We're up to 53 likes. Hopefully we can get up to about 75 by the time we're done with it all. Oh, sorry, I think I stumbled across a left-wing channel. You might have First Motorhome, but welcome into the leftosphere. By the way, you're greeted by about 100 MAGA in chat right now. So you're at home. Trump's not popular anywhere, not even the U.S. Yeah, great divide. He's losing some popularity pretty well. With the polling numbers around the world, Trump, yeah, he's not doing too great. Inflation go brrr. Pretty much. Dual citizen here, and I will not cross the border right now. Elbows up, everyone. Yeah, well, the thing is that, and we went over this last week, Trump's immigration policy is, or his numbers that they're using are a little fudgy, okay? They are down. I'm not going to sit here and deny. And this is the thing, is like, okay, let me try to say this in the best way I can. There is some truth to being hard on immigration that deters immigrants. Like, that exists. But let's be very clear here. There was already a downward trend with Biden. People may not like that, but it's the truth. I believe it peaked in 23, early 23, and since then it's been a steady decline. So what you'll see is the Trump administration using like a higher number. I've actually seen this where they use like February of 23 to now to try to like emphasize that it's down like 120% or some stuff like that. It's insane because they're playing with numbers. They're cherry picking the data. It is down. I'm not going to deny that, but I wouldn't argue that it's as down as you may think it is. So be very careful when you see some of those numbers floating around on the screen. Do you distinguish between migrants and illegal immigrants? I call them undocumented immigrants. You can call them illegal. I don't care. Either way, I think there is if you're referring to, is there a difference between the two? I suppose you could say that there's a difference by way of saying that migrants could, the problem is undocumented immigrants can also be asylum seekers. So even if I were to attribute and say that migrants are asylum seekers or green cards, either of those, they would still be an undocumented immigrant. I think they're one and the same. I mean, you can't really, I don't know. To me, I don't know if there's really much of a difference. No one likes Democrats anymore. America has spoken. America did not speak. In fact, it was less than 50%, but good try. Everyone claiming the streamer is lying, yet posed nothing to prove it. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure. It's just MAGA. The thing is MAGA is going to come in here. They don't actually really research much of anything, and they'll just claim that I'm lying, which is why I said that. I think some people in here are probably trolls, but hey, if y'all want to come in here and troll, but just don't get out of line. That's all I ask. You're allowed to have your opinion, and I'm not going to necessarily censor you, but if you get out of line, I will definitely censor you. Actually, research a lot. Krista, if you research, yeah, I mean, I research quite a bit. Obviously, it's difficult to juggle everything. I work a 9 to 5, come home on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, do this. I also am furthering my education, so I'm doing that. And then, of course, I have a family to tend to. So pretty busy, to say the least. And I'll be traveling here soon, so it's be crazy. The DNC did not provide the USA with a great president. Just one theater was far better than Trump. Just one theater. I don't know what you're talking about. The right to voice is appreciated. Hey, Josh. I mean, like I said, I don't mind people coming in here voicing their the rules are pretty simple for anyone who's new to the stream. I don't mind you levying stuff at me. I can take it. I just ask that you don't start trolling people in chat. That's all I ask. Have a little bit of respect for the people in chat. That's all I ask. Oh, you're saying I research a lot. That's good. Krista, I'm glad that you research. I want to be very clear. Researching, to me at least, is not just going to a Fox News article or MSNBC article or Young Turks article or Verge or Vox or whatever article. It's going beyond that, looking for the source documentation and then forming my own opinion on that. If I need to consult somebody, like let's say it's a law or something, I will try to do my best to understand that particular law. And then if I can't understand it, then I will, generally speaking, try to see what the opinions are of others, but I'll try to get both sides. And that way I can get a coherent argument onto what it is. I also like to listen to a lot of TikTok debates. And when I do that, I'm able to actually understand what these arguments are from everybody. So, yeah, don't worry about that. I use several unbiased sources. Okay, good, Krista, good. That's why I watch debate streams. Great way to get sources to check. Yeah, Winter, honestly, that's really a good place to do it. I go on to, and the cool thing is, too, is when you go into TikTok debates, it's actually very easy. We'll probably be doing that on a stream very soon here. I've got it set up. I just got to get it sorted out. I want to do a TikTok debate, but streaming it through here. Anyways, it's a good way to flush out some of your ideas. You like maybe thinking in your head like this is a good argument, but you only know it's a good argument when you put it to use and get into a debate and try to argue about it. I'm going to follow this guy because he's very down to earth and respectful towards viewers. Yeah, first, I appreciate it. I really do. With what you title this video, you're not here to hear both sides of. That's fine. Real, if you believe that, go ahead. I'm willing to listen, but let's be very clear. Just because I listen doesn't mean that you're entitled to me to have to coddle that opinion. Let's be very clear on that. Respect is earned, not given in my stream. That's the way I look at it. I'm not just going to grant you that. And yes, Wes, please make sure you don't forget to hit that like button. We're at 63 likes right now. Let's go ahead and watch a video on President Trump's presser. This is actually going to be a nice little short video. Let's go ahead and pick up the speed.
Is pouring in, and we want to keep it that way. And I think that's what's going to happen. We have tremendous interest in our country, more than...
What a suit that is, huh? Like, everybody's wearing, like, modestly blue shirts, and this guy's like, I'm standing out, bro. And I'm wondering, listen, call me nitpicking. I'm wondering if this gold tie is his way of, like I wonder if he's wearing a... I wonder if he's wearing, like, those gold MAGA shoes or whatever they are.
Ever before. There's never been anything like it. We're almost at a $4 trillion.
You know, I just realized if you look on the background here, I don't know what these are. It literally states Ronald Reagan, George Bush, Clinton, Bush, and Obama, and Kennedy's back here too. I don't know what room this is, but that's interesting.
Level. And that's something that's never happened. And I think hopefully it's because of the election on November 5th, but it's also because of tariffs, I suspect, Governor. But I'm thrilled to welcome Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, a friend of mine for a long time.
Remember, guys, Trump doesn't read off a teleprompter.
And to have you at the White House. And we thought this was going to happen. And I said, if you get it signed up, we'll do it at the White House. And you got it all done. I'm proud of you. Not surprised. Executive Chairman of Hyundai Motor Group, Jung E-sun. Thank you very much. What a great honor. Vice Chairman Jay Chang. Jay, thank you.
Yeah, and these same motor companies, watch, Donald Trump's he's gonna have to necessarily carve out an exception for these auto manufacturers. And if he doesn't, I mean, even if he does, here's the thing. He may make a carve out for auto manufacturers, but the question is to what degree? Because if he sits there and he implements these tariffs on, like, say, raw materials or leather or things like that, the price of these vehicles are still going to go up. Granted, it'd be a little bit better, you know, by having a bit of an exception for those auto manufacturers, but it just depends. Depends on how far he takes them.
Hyundai Steel President Soo Gang Hyun. Thank you. Very great honor to have all of you. Also, and these names are much less difficult for me, but I think we got them right. But this one we will definitely get right. Mike
First
Johnson.
Moto Home with the first super chat. Thank you for promoting free speech. God bless. Yo, Motorhome, thank you for that super chat. You were the first person, by the way, to ever do a super chat on the Vince Wilson show. You know that first customer you get that you put like $1 up on the wall or whatever? You have that honor, my friend. First person. Appreciate you a lot, First Motorhome. Thank you for the support.
It's a great speaker, and he's been doing a real job. Right, Mike? It's an easy job, isn't it? House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Steve, doing all right, Steve. I'll tell you, he went through a lot, and he's stronger than ever. Louisiana Speaker Philip Duvalier. Thank you very much. Thank you
Oh my gosh.
very much.
All right.
Point. Today we're delighted.
There we go. Okay. I was gonna say, like, let's get into this. I can't sit here and just like listen to that, you know, this and this. Like, get through this.
Delighted to report that Hyundai is announcing a major 5.
Leo, yeah, I'm covering tariffs a little bit. They're planning on implementing these tariffs, I believe, the first or second week of April, and calling it Liberation Day. And they're going to levy tariffs against like every single country, including the EU, I believe.
$8 billion investment in American manufacturing. In particular, Hyundai will be building a brand new steel plant in Louisiana, which will produce more than 2.7 million metric tons of steel a year.
And let's be very clear here, guys. This is something I want to be very clear on this. Let's be very careful how we attribute these commitments to which president, okay? Because, for example, the idea of investing into, like, it's not as simple as just like you wake up one day and you're like, yeah, I'm going to build a manufacturing plant. I mean, it takes months, if not years, to really invest in these things. So I'd be very careful when you ascribe this manufacturer coming in because of Donald Trump. It could be very even possible that there's a little bit of Biden and Trump in that. So be very, very careful with how you ascribe, you know, goodness to it.
Year, creating more than 1,400 jobs for American steelworkers, and then there'll be major expansion after that.
1,400 jobs? I mean, 1,400 is 1,400, but that's like nothing, like at all.
This will be Hyundai's first ever steel mill in the United States, one of the largest companies in the world, by the way, supplying.
So they said steel mill. I wonder if so interesting. Sounds like it's actually like a steel plant here in the United. But see, this is the interesting thing about it though, right? I don't think Hyundai is in the United States. I think they're based out of Japan. I'm not too familiar with cars. Someone in chat could probably enlighten me. But like, this isn't really so it's kind of a weird way that they're doing this, because like they're investing in the U.S. by way of providing jobs, but the funds are being shipped overseas to a international company. I don't think Hyundai's in the United States. Yeah, Korea. Exactly, Elizabeth. Thank you guys, Korea, not Japan, Korea. So again, you know, America first. Is it really America first? I don't know. Whatever.
Steel for its auto parts and auto
Thank you,
plants,
King James, South
Alabama
Korea.
and Georgia, which will soon produce more than 1 million American-made cars every single year. The cars are coming into the...
I don't like how they do this. America-made cars. I mean, yeah, like somebody in the U.S. like, you know, puts the steering wheel on at the very end. Does that mean it's an American-made car? Let's be very clear. Where we live in this society, it's not that simple. Like, it crosses the border 100 different times. There's not really like a truly 100% American-made car that I can think of. Maybe somebody in the auto world can tell me more. But
this country at levels never seen before. Get ready. This investment is a clear demonstration that tariffs very strongly work, and I hope other things also, but the tariffs are bringing them in at levels that have not been witnessed.
So, hold on. Candu said, yes, Hyundai builds cars in the United States, specifically at their Hyundai motor manufacturing built. Yes, but if I'm not mistaken, that manufacturing facility is not to build the entire assembly of that car. Let me see if I can find it real quick, because I actually do want to I'm curious about this. I mean, it's the topic of the thing. Let me look this up. Hyundai, Alabama. I remember looking this up. Plant. What did they do? Here we go. Hyundai Motor Manufacturing. So this was implemented on April 12th. Construction completed in June of 2004. Now it's an investment to construct a plant dedicated to manufacturing engine heads and enhance existing operations, support production of existing models. So they don't even really like, I don't even see. Santa Cruz was unveiled at 2015. Santa Cruz production began. Expected to generate additional 5,500 jobs. I don't think it fully builds the cars from point A to point B, though. Exactly, Wes. That's what I thought. All right, let's just move on and then continue watching this video.
Hyundai will be producing steel in America and making its cars
Not
in
yet.
America.
Soon.
As a result, they'll
Not yet.
not have to pay
Soon.
any tariffs. You know, there are no tariffs if you make your product in America. So it's something that's why so many people are coming. As you know, we have from Taiwan, the biggest chip manufacturer in the world, is coming in with $200 billion, and we have a lot of people coming and plants coming and companies coming that never would have been here, never would have even thought about it. The new
they would have. Chip manufacturers are coming to the United States because of Joe Biden's CHIPS Act. Same CHIPS Act, by the way, that Donald Trump wants to get rid of. The whole reason they're coming here to the United States is because they're going to get a nice little government check for bringing their operations here to the United States. But Donald Trump wants to get rid of it.
steel plant in Louisiana is part of an even larger $21 billion investment Hyundai will be making in the United States over the next couple of years. The company will also be massively increasing its auto manufacturing in Georgia and investing billions of dollars in advanced American technology companies. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask the executive chairman to say a few words, and it's a great honor to have Hyundai, a truly great company. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak here today, and thank you for the invitation. And congratulations on the remarkable start to your new term.
It's been good.
All right. So Hyundai Motor
And this is to be expected, right? Like, he's not going to sit there and say anything negative or whatever.
entered the U.S. 1986. Since then, we have invested over $20 billion and now support more than 570,000 American jobs across all 50 nation states. Today, I'm pleased to announce an additional $21 billion in a new investment over the next 4 years, our largest U.S. invest ever. A key part of
See what he just said? Over the next 4 years. I guarantee you this discussion about investing in the United States took place. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this took place even before Biden. I wouldn't be surprised if this took place even before Biden and Trump. Like I just think that this was something that has been going. Well, no, this probably took place during Biden's term, because again, it's like only like I mean, you don't need 8 years to determine that you're going to actually put a plant somewhere. But I don't think that this is uniquely to Trump. I really don't. I think this is a little bit of all.
Of this commitment is our $6 billion investment to strengthen the U.S. supply chain from steel.
Steve, I'm not going to time you out. I mean, like I said, guys, the biggest thing for me is I don't really time anybody out unless they violate TOS or you insult somebody in our chat. That's all I ask.
And parts to automotive invest.
I'm going to skip through a lot of this. I really just want to get to the press conference from Donald Trump. He's just talking about the $78 billion. It's kind of boring business talk. Oh, let's go back to Mike Johnson.
Mike, would you and Steve like to say a few words?
Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're excited. It was mentioned earlier what a great start we've had to your second term, and
it's been a terrible start. Let's be very clear, but I get it.
Just getting started. Everyone should know that. There'll be more of this because it's the policies that are bringing about the great growth, and it's about leadership. And we have a strong new leader back in the White House, and it makes a big difference because everybody around the world is seeing that, and everyone around the country is applauding it. We were on district work period last week, and Steve Scalise.
That tends to happen, Wes. It's very telling that they don't actually want to debate the actual, merits of the argument.
Our colleagues were traveling around the country doing campaign events, raising money, doing all the things that are necessary to ensure that we keep the House majority for the Republican Party. And I'll just tell you, I was in multiple states over the last week, and everywhere I went, Mr. President, people are excited. There's this great sense of relief.
Even if he had video evidence of Trump saying he wasn't getting rid of the chip plant, this guy would somehow find a way to attempt to discredit and credit Biden somehow. Let's be very clear here. I think there are certainly, I'll give you, listen, if you guys really want me to point to something that I think Donald Trump is doing that is good, and I'm using this very, very loosely, would be in terms of immigration. He ran on that. I think he is way wasting things on the border, but he's been tough on the border, and he has reduced illegal border crossings. So if there's anything good, and I'm using that very loosely, I would say it's on the border. But again, I think he's also at the same time wasting quite a bit of money at the border as well. It's kind of like one of those things, like, in other words, if you can fix a sinking ship with just a piece of duct tape, why sit there and bring out the welder and try to weld a little piece on there, or taking the whole hull off and repairing the whole hull? You don't need to do that, right? He's just doing, and it's ridiculous. So I don't know.
Relief, almost euphoria out there because they know that America's back. This is the America First agenda. We're so grateful for these great friends with Hyundai to invest in Louisiana. We have extraordinary leadership on the state level, and leadership makes a big difference. We're so grateful to be a part of this. We want to tell you all this is a great investment in Louisiana and in America. More to come. Thank you so much. Steve?
Well, thank you again, Mr. President, for opening up the White House to this great group. Governor Landry has brought the same kind of energy to the governor's mansion in Louisiana that President Trump has brought to the nation in the White House. Some people marvel at President Trump's stamina. Over the weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, we spoke by phone on some different legislative initiatives.
Why would you have spoken by phone? Could it have been the fact that you were, out golfing at the Bedminster Golf Club for the 7th weekend in a row? Huh. Almost like, he was busy on vacation and not actually working.
That we're working on with Speaker Johnson to continue moving the agenda forward. Those very things that President Trump ran on, he's delivering for the American people. And this announcement by Hyundai is one more example of how that agenda that President Trump ran on to make America first again is working for the American people. When you talk about 1,300 plus really good jobs in Louisiana, those are all American workers. That's billions of investment coming in from Hyundai into the United States that would not have been here without President Trump's leadership. And I think people know that, they see it. It's been a long time coming, but we applaud the work that Hyundai is doing with Governor Landry to come to our state. But for President Trump, we're seeing this all across the nation, and we're just getting started. A lot more to come, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do you have any questions, please?
All right, here we go. 10 minutes of questions. The whole 10 minutes. Let's watch it.
Yeah, please.
The size of the investment, partly because of tariffs. On April 2nd, the reciprocal tariffs will go into effect. Is it truly reciprocal? Are there some countries that might get a break or some sectors that might get a break?
Well, I may give a lot of countries breaks, but it's reciprocal, but we might be even nicer than that. You know, we've been
This is the wild thing to me, okay, is this idea of reciprocal tariffs. The idea of a reciprocal tariff is that they levy against us and then we levy it back at them. Let's be very clear here. Donald Trump started this trade war with Canada. And as far as I'm concerned, that's not a reciprocal tariff. That is Donald Trump levied a tariff, Canada levied a tariff back at us. When we levy a tariff back at them, that's not a reciprocal tariff in my eyes. I'm sorry, that's just not how it works. I think reciprocal is doing a lot of emotional front loading to try to make it appear as if that's like, you know, I don't like that idea of that, because that's not really the case. Like, he's not doing it in defense of being levied against. It's like, no, you're going, yeah, I don't.
very nice to a lot of countries for a long time. But I call it Liberation Day. April 2nd is Liberation Day. But today, as you know, we did something with respect to Venezuela. You heard about that. And that will be quite important. We'll be announcing some additional tariffs over the next few days, having to do with automobiles, cars, and having also to do a little bit with lumber down the road. Lumber and...
Wait. What?
Quite important. We'll be announcing some additional tariffs over the next few days, having to do with automobiles, cars, and having also to do a little bit with lumber down the road.
I know he did not just say that.
Lumber and chips. We're going to get all those chip companies coming back. They're already coming back without even doing it. So
Thanks to Biden.
Very good. But we'll be announcing some others. But for the most part, April 2nd will be a big day. That'll be reciprocal day. And we'll be bringing some of the money back that's been taken from us. Let's be nice by using the word taken. I don't want to use a stronger word because these guys are professional politicians and they don't like to hear those words. I refuse to use the word stolen from us, but that's a... Oh, it happened. Well, the European Union lowered their tariffs to 2.5%. We were only at 2.5% for cars, which is very low. And as you probably heard, that European Union lowered their number from much higher than that, many, many times higher.
So is he wanting to impose a tariff on vehicles? I'm a little confused on this statement. It sounds like he's trying to levy a tariff against vehicles, the same vehicles that he's like touting he's bringing back to the United States. Okay.
Surprised to 2.5%, so that was good. But I don't know that.
Egg prices are not going down weekly.
But we have reciprocal.
I'm gonna debunk this for like the 100th time. Egg prices are going down at the wholesale level. They are not going down at the retailer level. In fact, retailers are trying to make up for their lost profits by keeping the prices high. Almost like it's called price gouging. Almost like if we had a price gouging law, then we would see prices go down pretty quickly. Almost like that would happen, right?
Tariffs.
Let's take your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides have been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic report for that. What is your response?
Listen to this. I'm going to play it at normal speed. This is crazy.
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business.
There you go.
It's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
Having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
with the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis? Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it.
This is Trump's go-to thing. Anytime he's confronted with something that is extremely controversial, he'll be like, oh, I did not hear about that. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. Literally, you could see this exact verbatim quote, I believe it was, when Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away.
Telling me about it for the first time. Anybody else?
This announcement on Hyundai, is this a blueprint for you for other automakers to come to the United States to do what Hyundai was doing and investing so much in Louisiana and creating these new jobs?
Absolutely. That's a nice question from you. That's a shocking question, how nice it is, huh? That's okay. That's a question that's a good question, actually. Yeah, sure. Hyundai's a great company. We have other great companies coming in, and we have some that are going to be staying here and very much...
I'm sorry, I'm reading chat, but I'm also trying to watch this. Trump was left a mess by Biden. Biden did that in 4 years. Talk about that. Just wait till everything comes out and you will change your mind. I'm not... What, are y'all going to try to take away Joe Biden's pardons? Yeah, that's going to work real well for you guys. I don't believe that you believe double, that you're saying you're doing it for clout and be relevant. The ironic part is you aren't, and you will never be. I appreciate your deep criticism there, Redacted. Biden's comment was good. Yeah, no, it was. It was great. And I could point to numerous factors. You can look at unemployment. You can look at the fact that CPI was going down. You can look at the fact that record oil production was up. We can look at numerous factors like that. There was record stock market prices. We saw rates, I believe, decrease, right? Decrease a few points. I think that was another one of them. You can look at that. States you're living in that eggs prices aren't down. Missouri's prices are way down. Pamela, I went to the store like yesterday in Texas, and it was like, I think it was like $6 or $7 or even $8 maybe. I'll have to look at it again. But it was about that ballpark. The problem is that wholesale prices are down, but retailers are keeping them high on purpose. Like, they're keeping it high on purpose. This is the problem is like, there might be some niche places here and there, like your little corner store that gets their eggs from local farmer or whatever. That might be down. But again, the wholesale prices are the ones that are down, not retail prices.
Expanding.
Okay. That's great. I'm glad you have the receipts for one niche location. It doesn't speak for everybody else's lived experiences, right? Your prices may be down, and that's great. That's wonderful. I'm glad you've gotten cheaper eggs. If you want to point to the exact Trump policy, if this is what you're trying to get at, and you want to point to the exact Trump policy that led to the decrease in these prices, I'd love to hear that. Reality is that the prices decreased because the demand just wasn't there. That's why. Nothing unique to Donald Trump.
Interest in every business. I can't just say automobiles, but automobiles is a big one. And yeah, this is the beginning of a lot of things happening. We've had, as you know, Apple's announced a $500 billion investment, and other companies.
Again, Apple invested $500 billion because they were trying to pick up from the Joe Biden administration's CHIPS Act.
Have announced 250, 300 billion, but we're well into the $3 and $4 trillion mark, which has never happened to our country before. What it really.
Pamela, you want me to look up average retail prices? I can. I'll see. I mean, I'm happy to look it up. Let's see. See if I can look up average retail. This is hilarious. You'll want me to look up egg prices, but we'll do it. We'll do it. Let's look up average retail egg prices. I don't think you're gonna like it, but we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Gotta make sure I'm looking at the right one. U.S. retail prices of eggs. Let's see what this is. What'd you know? Oh, this is the full access. This is Statista. This is March 12th. Oh, that's January 31st. March 12th might be the best one. Fred. Oh, look at this. Here you go. Here, let me zoom in on this for you. This is from Fred, which is Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Here, let me pull this up. Average price eggs, grade A large, cost per dozen, and U.S. city average, still $5.89. So it hasn't gone down. Now, granted, this is February. So we'll see March probably come out around April and see if it goes down. But so far, it's pretty high up there. Pretty high up there. All right. Let's get back to the video.
Really means is jobs. All we care about is jobs, right? We care about quality and quality of life and safety and security, but we care about jobs. And they're going to have we have a lot of people coming in.
See, you're talking about cities. What? That's okay. If you have another source, again, I could just sit here and say, no, they're not high, and I can leave the onus onto you because y'all are making the affirmative claim. But I'm doing y'all's homework for you. At this point, you guys can provide a source for me. You're more than welcome to join the Discord and send me a link, and I'll take a look at it, and I'll share it for stream. But do it before this video's over.
Governor Landry, I would love to ask Governor Landry a question, if you don't mind. How did you convince Hyundai to come to your great state? How did you convince
your receipt, Pamela, or Pam, is not going to show what national prices are. I've already mentioned this. I can go down to the local farmer and their price is going to differ from the person next door. This is the problem is that like MAGA lives by these anecdotes, and I understand it. It makes perfect sense because the way that MAGA operates is that as long as it's not happening to them, it's just not happening anywhere else, and they're not fazed by it. They have no empathy for it. The MAGA lives by their own lived experiences, their own anecdotes. That's how they form their policy positions. Whereas Democrats look at the fact of really the entire country as a whole and seeing what would be the betterment for the entirety of society. So, yeah, this is just hysterical to me that I've seen this time and time again. It's the same reason why they don't have any empathy for any of the undocumented immigrants, because ICE is not knocking at their door. But if ICE were to knock at the door, they'd be absolutely crying and begging for mercy. We saw this with J6. We saw this with J6, where they sat there and they were crying that they needed to be let out, and all of a sudden they were given a pardon. Daddy Trump gave them a pardon. Law and order, right?
It's going to come to Louisiana.
It was easy. I told him we were going to have a great president this year, right? Look, I think that this is Americans seeing the America First policy in action, right? It's not just promises, it's about action. And not only and I appreciate their patience, because all last year, many of these legislators, the Speaker and the Senate President, we worked on making Louisiana as friendly for business.
Yo, I love the Louisiana accent. I'm not gonna lie, it's such an interesting accent.
As the president,
it's up there with like Minnesotans, where they got that unique or Wisconsin accent. It's that northern accent.
Is making America. We worked on public safety. We worked on educational reform, which the president's been working on. We worked on tax reform, historic tax reform. And what I can tell you is, to echo what the president said, in Louisiana right now, I believe before the summer's over, we'll have $50 billion worth of construction projects going on in Louisiana. That is a record, Mr. President. It has never happened under any other president, under any other administration. And I can only look at the leadership that he has brought, not only to the White House, but to the world as well. And so to have these executives come here and say, hey, we want to invest in America, because for decades now, what Americans have seen is jobs being offshored rather than onshore. And today's announcement.
Joe Biden brought manufacturing. Joe Biden actually, believe it or not, did carry some of Donald Trump's policy positions. Not a lot, but he kept Donald Trump's steel tariffs in place for the most part. And I think, I could be wrong on this one, I believe there was even a boom in manufacturing positions under Joe Biden as well.
Is exactly that. This is a message for all America, that this president and their governors out there care about the American worker.
Mr. President, and I have to tell you that if you have any trouble getting permits, which you won't, come see me. I'll get them for you immediately. All right? But you're not going to have any trouble.
Yeah, there won't be any trouble because there won't be a permitting agency left by the time by the time they start actually building the United States, there won't be a permitting agency anywhere left.
When I first got involved in this world of politics, when I went down to Louisiana, the two big LNG plants, and they were stuck for 14 years. They tried to get permits, and these were $12 billion and I think $15 billion plants. And they were working on it for 14 years in one case, I think 13 or 14 in the other.
13 or 14 years?
And I was able to get them in less than a week, and they were shocked. And probably some consultant got a lot of money for doing it, but nobody spoke to me about it, other than this gentleman at the time. He mentioned it, and he did. They were in very much different positions, but they wanted to see if we could break the logjam, and I got it done. In one case, I actually got it done in one day, and the other case, I didn't do as well. It took a full week. And they built, and they're up, and they're very successful now. That was a long time ago, but we got it done immediately. You'll have no trouble getting your permits, I guarantee. These people you're dealing with are top of the line. Okay? But just in case, call me.
On the Venezuela tariffs that you announced earlier today, sir,
Yes.
it says 25% for any country that does business
That's
with
right.
Venezuela.
If they buy their oil from Venezuela, they have to pay a 25% tariff to do business with the United States.
On top of existing tariffs, so for example, China.
Yes, that would be on top of existing.
45%
That would
tariffs
mean,
on China next week.
that's on top of existing tariffs, yes.
And so also next week, April 2nd, as you said, Liberation Day. Is that going to be sector tariffs as well as reciprocal tariffs?
It's going to be everything, yeah. It's going to be everything, but not all tariffs are included that day. For instance, we'll do some, as you know, we've already done steel and aluminum, and that's at a 25% level. And we are going to be doing automobiles, which you've known about for a long time. We'll be announcing that fairly soon, over the next few days probably. And then April 2nd comes, that'll be reciprocal tariffs. But we may take less than what they're charging because they've charged us so much, I don't think they could take it. In other words, they've charged us so much that I'm embarrassed to charge them what they've charged us. But it'll be substantial, and you'll be hearing about that on April 2nd. And it will be Liberation Day because we'll...
Yeah, Pamela, I don't mind you in chat. Look, at the end of the day, we can still see you. So, Pamela, it's so funny to me. After he blocked me from chat, listen, if any of my mods are blocking her, don't block her. At the end of the day, look, man, I need to have a decent chat, and what I want to see is I want to make sure everybody has a voice. And all I ask is that you are respectful. The only rule I have is you're respectful to others in chat. You wanna sit there and troll me, go right on, but don't insult my viewers in chat. That's all I ask. It's like the most simple rule. And don't violate TOS. That's pretty basic, right? Think we can handle that? Think MAGA can handle that? I know they have a hard time with that.
be taking in large amounts of money for our country, and that's lower taxes and all of the things that are good. And
Pamela, you're back on your account. You're here. You're back. And only thing I do is temporary timeout. So I don't know if any of my mods gave you a temporary timeout, but you should be fine. You're on your other account. Just stop complaining.
jobs, a lot of jobs.
What's your message to the big corporate clients of the big law firms that you targeted with your executive orders? Do you want those big corporate clients to find new lawyers?
I just think that the law firms have to behave themselves, and we've proven that. We have
All right, Dr. Slayer. Bye.
Having to do with the election and other things, they behave very badly, very wrongly, and I appreciate the one. These are the biggest firms, and they all came back.
So this is after the Perkins Coie thing, where he was saying he's going to go after some of the law firms that went after him. Just another one of those revenge things. At this point, I'm just waiting for the investigations into Adam Schiff. I feel like that's where it's about to go. I'm just waiting for them to start those investigations because they're coming at this point.
Realizing that they did wrong, and that's why they're doing this. So I just think they have to behave. We have to straighten out our country. We have to straighten out our elections. Our elections are very dishonest, very corrupt, and we have to straighten it out. And so
I got you, Wes.
And we should go to paper ballots. We should go to one-day
You're
voting.
good, Wes.
We should go to voter ID, and just one other thing, proof of a thing called citizenship in the United States. Wouldn't that be nice? How simple?
Okay, so the idea that there are multiple, like a ton of undocumented immigrants voting is just inherently false. There are certain states that allow undocumented immigrants to vote in local elections, not federal elections. This is one of the reasons why we saw that there were undocumented immigrants on voter rolls in certain states, because they are allowed to vote in local elections. And voter ID, by the way, is not hard voter ID. I don't think a lot of people, quite frankly, Democrat or Republican, understand this. Voter ID could be as simple as a bill. Okay, like it's pretty crazy. Now, Republicans do favor a like hard ID state, but the problem is that there's a whole host of issues with that. Then, all right, I mean, it kind of becomes almost like, is it a poll tax, right? So you got to balance it out pretty well. But a lot of states do have it. My personal stance on it is look, I just think that everybody should be mailed if you're going to do voter ID, mail out an ID to everybody immediately and make sure that everybody has plenty of time and chance to be able to rebut it. And keep in mind, don't do what Donald Trump is doing, like Social Security, for example, by forcing people to physically go down to the Social Security Administration, allow people to be able to handle this stuff online if possible, even if it's by way of a virtual meeting or whatever it may be. I'm not a huge fan of barriers to voting.
Simple does that sound? Proof of citizenship, voter ID, one-day voting, and paper ballots. Paper ballots are very secure. They have watermark paper. It's very intricate stuff. It's very technologically advanced, even though it's paper. And you'd have no trouble. You wouldn't have dishonest elections, and you'd have them all done by 10 o'clock in the evening. France went to that, and not that I want to copy anybody, but many others have also. And they had 38 million votes, and it was all done at 10 o'clock. They had a winner, they had a loser. That was it. Nobody was complaining. And they had it backed up with paper. And it's so easy to do. The other thing, you'd save about, this would cost you about 8% of what the machines cost. So the paper would be much less expensive. So if you're looking to save some money, that's a good way to save it. So it's a shame that we've gone through it. We've gone through a bad election, really bad election. The election was so bad. And think of it. You wouldn't have had the October 7th disaster with Israel. You wouldn't have had Russia and Ukraine, because that would have never happened. You wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had the type of withdrawal from Afghanistan that you witnessed, which was probably one of the primary reasons that Russia went into Ukraine. They saw that mess, how badly it was handled. They said, well, this is a paper tiger that was handled by incompetent people. But that wouldn't have, we would have been out, but we would have kept Bagram, the big air base, which is 1 hour away from China where they make their nuclear weapons. Would have been nice to have it, but now, you know who has it now? China has it. And so an honest election, and we wouldn't have had inflation. You had the record-setting inflation. We wouldn't have had inflation. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to congratulate Hyundai, a great company, and we will do everything.
We wouldn't have had record inflation if it weren't for Donald Trump. Let's be very clear on that. So, all right. Let's pull up chat now. For some reason, my Streamlabs chat has gone down, so all I have is like this little box. So, public schools are the reasons people are stupid. Well, let's be very clear. If your public schools are having issues, you should probably go to your local school board meeting. But yeah. As long as I don't need to show my ID in front of or to anyone unofficial where to see it, right? IDs are not poll tax because you can choose to have a license or not. Right, but then you're also limiting those who are maybe not able to go and get that license. So again, I would be fine. I mean, if your idea is that you want, every person who's able to vote, then I would say you should probably have you should be open to the idea of giving everybody that right somehow, some way, and you would want to try to do whatever you can to make sure that person is able to vote. I don't, no one cares. Okay, well, I'm glad. And it's the funny thing it's exactly, you're right. I mean, you just said the quiet part out loud. Republicans don't care. They don't. They, quite frankly, only care when it impacts them. So Republicans are pretty heartless, generally speaking. Well, MAGA is pretty heartless. I don't know if I would say MAGA is heartless, but definitely I would say, I don't know if Republicans are heartless. MAGA definitely seems that way. We try to talk to school boards about who they're teaching your kid and disagree. They treat you like you're... Y'all are hysterical. Y'all are hysterical. Yeah, no. So when you cause a massive scene, I believe we saw some of this happen at some of these town halls. When you cause a big enough scene, you will get pulled out and you will get potentially arrested or cited for causing a disturbance. It's pretty simple. And again, spare me with this idea about domestic tea groups. Because we see the same thing going on right now that Pam Bondi. Listen, I want to be very clear. These individuals who are doing these things to Tesla should be held to the fullest extent of the law. The argument of whether or not they should be held as a domestic tea group and sent to El Salvador is a whole other question. So, how are you wrong on every topic? I don't know. You tell me. Maybe you should tell me how I'm wrong. I wish every young person would vote. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Elizabeth. I think I want to see more people, young people, get involved in the political process. And one thing I do when I ascribe certain policy positions, I try to understand that, for example, or not ascribe, when we got into looking at why it was that Trump won, a lot of people kind of put their own feelings on it and say this is why, but I go by polling. All polling suggests that it was the economy and immigration. Those are the two reasons that Donald Trump won. And Donald Trump seems to be kind of ignoring that, in my opinion. I mean, immigration, he's taken on immigration, but he's taken it to a whole nother extent. When people sit there and say that they voted for Donald Trump to do all these things, that's not what they voted for. They voted to secure the border, in which case he's done somewhat, but they did not vote to start deporting temporary protective status and green card holders. Elon the billionaire is deciding whether or not Social Security is beneficial. Yeah, Kevin, there's already there's writings on the wall that they're trying to get rid of Social Security by every way that they can. He's crushing it on immigration. No, I would say that there is here's the moderate stance, right? He could have just simply battened down the hatches at the border, if you will, right? Barbed wire, I'm not a real huge fan of at the border. I think it's a little bit cruel and stuff, but hey, you want to put the barbed wire, that's one thing. You want to put buoys, that's one thing. When you start to go beyond that, you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's like the difference between going 30 miles per hour versus 80 miles per hour. It's like, look, I told you to go 30, not 80. Now you're putting everybody at risk. You're going way too fast, way too hard. It's not going to work. Steve, we already debunked this. It's 95% is not completely accurate. They're using February to February, which is not totally accurate. If you look at it in November or December, it's actually been on a downward trajectory. You can see that played out on some of their encounters. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys so you can see. Because it actually was going down under Joe Biden, believe it or not. Border Patrol encounters, I think is what it is. I think this is it here. Yeah, this is it right here. Let me show you guys. So you can see here. This is 2024. You can see it peaked, the highest it had been in December of, this says December fiscal year 24. Understand that's December of 23. So December of 23, it peaked at 300,000 law enforcement encounters. By the time that Joe Biden left in January, we'll put it right here. It was down to 96,000 enforcement encounters. So, and it's deeply declined. That's why I said I'm not denying it hasn't declined, but it's been on the decline pretty significantly. So, when I went to get my passport, as soon as Trump was elected, it began to decline. No, Robert, that's just completely incorrect. That's just completely incorrect. You can see here, July, August, September, it was already on the decline from here. It rapidly declined here in December down to February. But again, I don't know if I would attribute that 100% to Donald Trump. But like I said, this is why I've sat there and said, like, is Donald Trump trying to close the border? Maybe a little bit. Do I think that there is something to be said about going hard on immigration? Yeah, I think there is something to be said there. And that's why I said if there's anything good about the Trump administration is that they have managed to decline the border encounters. So, I mean, there has been something good there, I guess. This man is out talking for hours every day. Talking for hours. Where am I talking for hours? I work a 9 to 5. I don't talk for hours. I mean, I talk for a couple hours, unless you're willing to agree for that. This man is out talking for hours. You're talking about Trump, huh? You're talking about Trump. No, I got you. You're talking about Trump. Yeah. I don't know if I'd say it's dementia, but he definitely has a hard time speaking, in my opinion. Anytime he goes off script, we have issues. That's just the reality. I'm muted. Sorry. I think they're going to go in and cut Social Security. So I think that's what they're going to do. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to see something real quick. No, they're not cutting. They probably will. There's going to be a way for them to cut it. They're already talking about it. They're already talking about the hypothetical scenarios. You can look at Howard Lutnick, who had already said that if you don't get it, you're going to be considered a fraudster. I trust Trump more than this guy. Well, I appreciate it, Stanley. So we're heartless. There you go. And you don't do nothing about us, but okay. No, I think a lot of MAGA right now are pretty heartless. I do. I agree. I agree with that. I think most MAGA honestly do not actually care about Democrats. They only care about themselves. I think they're extremely selfish. And to be clear, MAGA is not the same as Republican. The way that I look at a MAGA is more than just who you voted for. It's who did you vote for? That's part of it, I guess. But then the question is are you able to name 4 or 5 policies, or preferably, laws that Donald Trump signed that you disagreed with? If you're unable to do so, you might be called MAGA. And depending on how you behave, I might levy MAGA. I do use it to some degree or another as a pejorative. So yeah, I do that. So you don't think there's any fraud in SSI? Steve, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is to some degree, but it's minuscule. It's absolutely minuscule. And the numbers that you're pulling up, referring to the 160-year-olds or 180-year-olds or whatever it is, yeah, those are people who have not submitted a death certificate that are just still on the rolls, but that they aren't receiving any money. They're not receiving any money. So it's hysterical to me that you guys use that when you don't even understand what you're looking at. My son was born on the 18th of this month. I just want America to get better. I'm not hating Democrats or Republicans. I hate the extremists, extreme left, and extreme right. When you're too far one way. Hey, Firestorm, welcome. Because I'm the same way. I sat there and I voted Republican for most of my life, and I saw the Republican Party went way too far right, and so I decided to go in and I voted Democrat for the first time in my life. It was very awkward to explain to my parents that I was voting Democrat, but I stood by my morals. I have a very principled stance that I do not want to see this country go down into a burning flame of fire. So. Yo, Mr. Geek, what's up? Yeah, there isn't really an extreme left in America, to be honest with you. I mean, it may exist, but in very, 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 very small pockets. It's mainly liberals on the left. Yo, Mr. Geek, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, I rebranded, man. I want to be a little more professional. I couldn't like the fact of like thinking about like if I were to ever have gone on to like a big talk show or something, being called the Doghouse Show. I just don't get the hate, just constant hate. My intention is to let people know Repubs can be level-headed and towards the center. You don't have to hate us so much. Jim, the problem is that when you have people that are like MAGA, okay, I'm fine with normal Republicans. Me and normal Republicans can have a cool talk. It's the MAGA that I have an issue with. West, me and 12 other people are the extreme left. Problem is hate. You might want to look at your own party for that. On that note, guys, I am going to bounce out. Thank you, everyone, for y'all's massive support. Thank you for those who did a super chat. Thank you for everyone who liked the stream. We're almost to 100 likes. Still hit that like button. Get us to 100 likes. I am exhausted, as you can tell. I have been streaming, or I have been working 9 to 5, and I've been working. I've got on stream right afterwards, and now I've got homework I've got to do right after this. So the grind is real. But anyways, guys, Wednesday and Friday, I'm probably going to open up viewer call-ins. I need to get with Wes to make sure we have people that can go in and vet it. If you're not following me on Discord, please follow me on Discord. Here's the Discord link. It should pop up in a second. Follow that Discord link. It's not going to pop up. Of course it's not. It doesn't want to work now. Convenient. Annoying. But anyways, try to find my Discord link. It's somewhere in the bio. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. There you go. Thank you, Wes. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You guys have